Yeah. Come on, be big. Definitely better than anything I've had a hold of today, I think. No, definitely not. I'm wanting a big one so bad I can't stand it. Whenever you just start wanting one so bad. Oh, these things are dangerous. Little wind-up toys. You get to wanting a big one so bad you think everything's big every time you get a bite. So it's December, like it's early winter. We're trying to go offshore. I'm trying to catch them in 20, 25, 30, you know, right next to the steep breaks off the main river channel. And so far today, it has not been the play. The play has been, dude, we're still on the bank. And even though it's wintertime, they're just not very deep. And they tend to want to hold on up there eating gizzard shad. Like I say, it's early winter. I mean, it's only early December, so like we're just beginning, water temps 52, 53. Don't be afraid to stay on the bank. And jerkbaits are a great way to hang on early in the winter and all winter long, but like don't ever be afraid to keep checking the bank. I don't care how cold it is, especially if you live down in the southern part of the United States. Anything with watercolor obviously is going to help keep them up there as well. And that's what we have, you know, pretty prevalent here in Oklahoma is we have a lot of parts per billion of dirt in our water. So it really gives them quite a bit of cover to where they still feel pretty good and comfortable even in shallow water, even in the wintertime. I'm still targeting steeper banks, staying main lake points, transitions where channel swings come and go from big rock to shallow rock where the river channel will actually transition and go to the flat. It's a good place to look. I'm using a shallow running jerkbait. I do use a +1 too. Also, it just depends on the bank that I'm on, but like I'm not just going to be sold on just one certain type of bank. Like I will fish points, I will fish channel swings. But the main thing that I'm keeping in common with it is I'm pushing this jerkbait on the bank. So like everything I'm casting to, I can visually see. And like I say, with it being wintertime, I still want to focus on things that are close to the creek channel, close to the main river channel, main lake points and things of that nature to where I'm still close to where their winter haunts are going to be. But allow me to fish this jerkbait right up in the rocks in a shallow presentation. This is one of the main swings, river channel swings. It comes out of this creek, comes in, bumps, and that's why we've got these big rocks here. It comes in, hits here, and then swings back out. So we're gonna fish this from the steep part. Like right now, I'm sitting in 53 foot of water, and we're just right next to the bank. We're gonna fish it here, and then expect to get bit anywhere from here all the way out throughout the transition of it going to the flat, which will be up here on a point. I like to throw the jerkbait in the winter, pre-spawn. I mean, anytime the water temperature gets below 60, and honestly, I'm guilty. I probably should throw it through in the summer too, but it is extremely effective early winter, all through the winter, and pre-spawn in the spring because it allows me to cover a lot of water, but yet slowly, if that makes sense. So like it's up there, twitch, twitch, pause, twitch, twitch, pause, but then I can reel it in and just go to the next. It's a suspending bait. It's extremely effective on fish that are suspended, which happens a lot pre-spawn and during the winter. It just really covers the strike zone extremely well in the wintertime. It's one of the best baits there is. I mean, this was the before the A-rig. This was what we had, and it was the best thing going at times. The A-rig has kind of replaced it, but probably we'll see a comeback with this thing as well, just because the A-rig's become so popular. Fish have seen it. It's not as effective as it was when it first came out. But it's a bait that I really enjoy to throw. I've had a lot of experience with it. It catches big fish too. That's the great thing about it. It doesn't just catch little ones. It catches everything in the lake. You can get a lot of bites on it. It's just an extremely effective bait in the winter time. So the cadence in the winter. So the cadence that I like in the winter, where the cadence doesn't matter the cadence that I like. It's cadence fish like. I'm not a guy that can sit out there and throw it and jerk it and leave it for 30 seconds. That's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. But how hard you hit that bait with a jerk, you know, a twitch, I've noticed that's a big deal. A lot of times they like it a little more dull. And what I mean by dull is just a little bit softer and not such those real hard, fine twitches. And just kind of give it more of a dead action instead of something that's a real hard pop. The cadences, I try to change. We all get in the rhythm where we're jerking the same all the time. But some things I'll do is I'll twitch to the right, then I twitch to the left, open-handed. That can change it up a little bit. The biggest thing is that you throw slack at your bait. So like if you've never thrown a jerkbait, the biggest thing is that whenever you snap the rod, you throw the rod back up so that you're throwing slack back at the bait, and that's what actually allows that bait to sit still. So like it instantly moves and then stops, instantly moves and stops. The other thing that's critical if you've never thrown one before, in this time of season that I'm talking about throwing it, it's imperative that you throw a suspending jerkbait. I'm not looking for a floater or anything like that. I want that jerkbait to either suspend completely still, and then there's times that I use one, I'll change hooks up and stuff on one to make it sink just a little bit, you know. Maybe a foot every 3 seconds or something like that, but it will sink a little bit. I like both of those actions. And that's how I change that, just by adding a little bit bigger hook, either on the front, usually on the front hook, just change the hook out to a little bit heavier hook, and it'll give that bait just enough weight to where it sinks. I mean, we're sitting in 30 right now. I don't want to work it all the way back through the water column, even though I'm sitting in 30 or 40. When I'm on those bluff walls, man, they're gonna bite it in the first 5, 6 foot, 7 foot off that wall. So a lot of times I'll get really tight and parallel those things. A place like this, I'm a little further out. This is where the channel swing is actually happening. We're actually into that swing. So the flat's up here now, it's flatter. So now I'm gonna be making longer casts, and I'm gonna be working that bait a lot more, a lot further distance closer to the boat than what I was when I was right up on the bluff wall, right where the swing was, where it was steeper, because then I want to be right next to the rock. You can always tell when you're looking for the channel swings where they are, because you're just looking at your contour lines, how they get real tight. And you can see the outward bend of the river right there, right up against the wall, right up against the bank. And so you've got a lot of depth there. Your contour lines are tight. It's easy to zoom out on a graph, or to look, you know, to zoom in and zoom out and be able to tell where they are and be able to move about the lake, just from watching contour lines, where they bend and where they turn. You can also find them offshore. Like, they don't always have to be right up next to the bank. It can be a little bit offshore where your contour lines come and touch a flat, and maybe the top of the flat's only 6, 7 foot deep, but yet it's dropping off into 60 or 70. The same thing, same effect, same thing we're looking for. I like to have a couple of jerkbaits this time of year, so I'm not just using one. Like you just said, I mean, pigeonhole is a great term. I don't want to be pigeonholed into just one bait. Depending on where I am in the spot, like on this location right here, the top of it is 14, 15 foot deep, and I want that deeper diver jerkbait on. But then sometimes I pull up on a flat and I'm moving around on it, and I want to be able to jerk, and it's only 5, 6 foot deep, even where the boat's sitting. So I want the shallower diver for that. So it's not uncommon for me to have 2, 3, even 4 different jerkbaits on my deck at any given time. I also like different brands, and for different reasons. Like the original old Rogue, I still jerk it a lot. It's got a lot better action than the newer, you know, styles like Mega Bass and different companies have out. It's a lot harder twitch. With the old Rogue, it's a real dead, subtle roll. It doesn't dart real quick. And sometimes when it gets really cold, man, the difference in the action of those jerkbaits can be huge. You know, it's always about the little things, and I've seen that make a huge difference before. So I keep the old Rogues too, and so that has a lot to do with water temperature and then the fish and how they're acting. And you know, when we're spending a week on a lake for an event, you can really tell that over that period of time that, hey, this bait gets a bit better than that one, and it's just got to do with the actions.